Okay, this is the first video of the mandala project. The very first step we're going to do, I'm going to skip over it, but I had asked that you find a bunch of images that reflect your theme and also make sure that they're cropped. You didn't want to just have a picture that didn't have any sort of effect or any sort of cropping on it. So, I didn't want to see a bunch of rectangles. So you want to make sure you have a nice variety. You also want to make sure that it does reflect that theme. Now, one of the images should have been kept just a perfect, just uncropped. And this is going to be used for the background of the wedge. So if you want to think of this in terms of a collage, this is going to be the image for the background where all the other images are going to sit upon. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to File, Open. Now I'm using a PC. This is different than the Macs, but you should know how to get to the student drive, and you're going to go to _Corso and 5 mandala. Now in here there's a lot of different pictures. These are not the pictures that you want to try to open, because these are images that were modified today by different students. What you want to open up is what's called the wedge. Okay, I'll have to clean that out. So you're looking for this wedge image. Now what we're going to do is we're going to crop this image in the shape of this wedge. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to use the magic wand tool and select the inside of this wedge. You want to make sure that contiguous is checked, which means that if you select inside this wedge, it's going to select only the white that's inside. If you have contiguous, which means connected, unchecked, it's going to select both the stuff inside and outside. So you want to make sure contiguous is checked and click. You want to go to the Move tool, because we're going to move this down into the picture. So you want to make sure the photo bin is exposed and you see a thumbnail of the picture that you're going to drag it to. And using the Move tool, you're going to drag it down. Now, if it's about the right size, that's pretty good. Sometimes the wedge is really, really big. Sometimes the wedge is really, really small. If the wedge, you drag it over and the wedge is huge, that may mean that your image is not a high enough resolution. You may need to find something that's a higher resolution. So I'm going to fit this on the screen, and I'm going to figure out what part of this I want to include. I want to try to maximize this. So if you noticed, I rotated it and I can drag it. You want to make it bigger and smaller using the corners. What you don't want is to change the proportion, which will change the angle. It'll change it from 30 degrees to something different. So make sure when you're changing the size, you're using the corner of your bounding box. So what you can do also is to lower the resolution, lower the opacity on that layer so you can see through it, especially if there's certain pieces and certain elements in the background that you want to include. This one's just an overall water background, so it doesn't really matter. Once you like it, you say OK. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of everything on the outside here. We are going to unlock the layer. We are going to take the marching ants now, and we want marching ants around this wedge. So we're going to click on layer 1, which has the wedge. We're going to select around the wedge. We're going to go back to layer 0, which is our background, and we're going to hit delete. Now when we hit delete, and we'll hit escape to get rid of the marching ants, you might notice it looks very, very light. That's only because this layer 1 is still here. We can drag this up into the trash, and that is our wedge. You want to file and save as, you want to save this as wedge, or I don't know, on wedge, plain wedge or something like that. And this is the next video is going to show you how you can start to drag all the images on there. Okay?